Hey guys, this is Whitney with Lights Camera No.
What's up, everybody? It's Lauren, and this week we're discussing the Dawn of the Dead 2004 remake by the one and only Zack Snyder.
I had no idea that he did this
I
until
didn't either.
and now it makes me even more excited for Army of the Dead because this is my favorite zombie movie.
Spoilers. No, I'm just kidding.
What's a spoiler? That there's zombies?
Know that you liked it.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine. That was going to come across anyway. Relax.
It's too I get too excited about it.
It is a good one. I was just talking to Brendan about it. He's like, yeah, it's probably one of my favorites zombie movies out there.
It is not ever there is a lot of dislike towards it, which we will get to in the trivia section.
Oh,
But
I'm excited to hear about that. I mean,
yes,
I
you'll
figured
watch.
because, everybody has an opinion, but I wondered like what it is about it that bothers people.
You will find it very interesting because it's
Oh,
like
I'm
one of the
excited.
things that you've said before. You're like, I love it when this happens. You'll find it super interesting.
Oh, okay.
So, are we ready?
I'm ready. Let me dive
We're
in.
switching it off. So Lauren's doing the summary this week. I'll be heading up the trivia. So
It's time for In Summary with Lauren.
in summary.
All right, so this movie opens with our main female lead. Her name is Anna. She's a nurse at a hospital because what better place to work at the beginning of a pandemic than a hospital? Her first encounter, she's getting off of her morning shift, and her first encounter with a zombie is her neighbor girl, and she ends up getting Anna's husband, bites him. He turns into a zombie. And these are the fast zombies in this movie, which I completely forgot about. It's been a minute since I've seen it, but these are the fast ones. The reaction is fast. There's like very little time from when you get bit. It's a very short reaction time.
I have a statement to make or an observation.
Go for it.
This cold open is one of the most nerve-wracking cold opens of any movie I could like it's definitely like top 10 of just like I had a knot in the pit of my I knew even though I knew it was gonna happen, I had a knot in the pit of my stomach. Like as soon as you hear the stuff that's happening in the background.
Which she is not paying any attention to. There's like news. She hears stuff on
Yep.
the radio. She switches
Hmm.
it over. But yeah, there's a slow build up and it really sets the tone for like the rest of this movie, which
Yeah.
is chef's kiss.
Mhm.
Beautiful. So the husband's a zombie at this point. He's going after Anna. She's like, what the heck is happening? I have no idea. Ends up escaping and she runs into does she crash the car?
She does because that guy tries to get in the car with her.
That's
She
right.
is
Okay.
stalled because she's distracted and looking at something.
She crashes the car and then she wakes up and she discovers this group of people and like suddenly we're getting very Walking Dead because this group of people who consists of Kenneth, who's the cop, Michael, Andre, and this woman Luda, who's pregnant. They've like banded together, and I forget where they were trying to go, but their new plan is to go to the mall because that just makes sense at this point.
And honestly, I can't tell you how many like conversations I've had with friends over the years, like at night, where it'll be like, if there was a zombie apocalypse, like where would you go? Like it's like a conversation like that I've commonly had with people.
I think, well, I wanted to raise this question to you because I think back in there was a time that I would have gone to the mall, but the malls around here now are like dying and there's really not many
Yeah.
stores and there's like a Boardwalk t-shirt shop and like a Macy's and
Well,
that's really it. So I don't know where I would like maybe a Target would be my best.
Walmart,
Walmart,
they sell guns.
not up here.
Here. Oh, they don't sell guns there? Well, I mean, I'm in the South.
Yeah, I would probably travel south.
But if you think about it though, so this is the remake of, the Romero one. And that was in, I think, when did that one come out? Like 78-ish,
Something
I
like that.
think. And it was set in a mall too. But think about, like, for example, when we covered Shopping Mall, remember there was a gun store in the
Yeah,
mall.
it's like
So
was a metropolis. So
it made
given the
much more
time,
sense.
exactly, it made sense for them to go there. But it does, to your point, it raises the question, like, what if it was now? Like, where would I go? Wouldn't be the
Walmart.
mall, I don't think. Walmart's a
Mm-mm.
good thing. Anyway, we are in the mall and they run into what I like to call the douchey mall security, headed by this man named CJ. He's an absolute jerk. It's clear that he's kind of going to be like the villain aside from the zombies until he's not, but we'll get to that. Kenneth gets a wound he falls into the fountain. He's wrestling with a zombie, trying to protect the pregnant woman.
And I'm like, could they have had a sharper faucet? No.
But he was fine, right? Because he cut himself on the faucet.
Yeah, he didn't get bitten. It was strictly from the faucet in the fountain.
Okay, because he was kind of weird about it. Like he wanted to kind of hide the fact that she stitched him up eventually, but he was weird about it at first, I guess, because they hadn't grasped how you got infected. So fast forward a little bit, they find out that there's this place called Fort Pastor, and that's like the safe haven of this.
That's where Kenneth's brother is.
Yes, and how he knew that, I don't like. They talked about it on the news. He's like, he's watching the report, and he's like, my brother's there. Like, how do you know that? Do you just assume?
Does he live in Fort Pastor? Maybe that's...
Whatever.
I don't know.
It's a safe haven. His brother's there. He wants to go. And at this point, they have the people out on rescue missions. They've got the helicopters, the planes flying around. So they decide to go up on the roof, paint an SOS, people inside, whatever, just to attract attention. Fast forward a bit more. Some new survivors come to the mall, and the group inside the mall are obviously hesitant about welcoming new people.
Not Anna.
Yeah, no, Anna wants to save everybody because she's a medical professional, and that's what they're driven to do.
Yeah.
But amongst this group of new people is sassy Ty Burrell, which was like really distressing for me to see.
It was very bothersome to see Phil Dunphy as a ladies' man.
Well,
Phil
he's
Dunphy
also such a nice person generally. Yes.
And he's like behind the girl, like getting her from behind and like turning on the camera, like while he's, and I'm like, Phil, no, Phil, it's wrong. It's all wrong.
I was like watching my like dad or father figure. I was like, please stop this.
I hate it.
But whatever, he had to do what he had to do. So he's part of that group, and then she was never named, right? I wrote big broad in my notes, which seems rude now, but she was a bigger lady. And she didn't have a name. They said she died unnamed. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude.
He did say that. We'll get to it in my why would they do that, but
okay.
We're gonna circle back to the big broad.
Big broad. The
heavier lady, the larger woman.
So she comes in injured, and they don't really raise concern about how she got her injury. They're just, trying to give her the best care, and she dies, and she's bloated, her eyes are sunken, and she doesn't look well. And they just kind of put a blanket over her head. Naturally, she comes back as a zombie, and it ends poorly for her. There are several other zombie encounters in the mall before and after these new survivors arrive, but I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of that. At some point, they learn that Fort Pastor has been destroyed. It doesn't exist anymore. And Ken's
that's Phil is the one that drops that bomb
when they arrived. Yes. So Ken's like upset, and he wants to leave the mall, and I don't know where he wants to go, but he just wants to get out of the mall. People are dropping like flies at this point, including that unnamed fat lady, the bald old man who was there that was his daughter, right? Not his wife.
Yes. Bald old man.
Man.
You know who that is?
He looked familiar, but I didn't like name.
You probably don't. You probably don't. I mean, I know he was not around when you were born, but that is Matt Frewer, who played Max Headroom. Do you remember Max Headroom?
Who's that?
He played he was like a robot guy, and he would do the like head turn where he looked like he was glitching all the time.
What?
He was in Pepsi commercials. He was in
God, no.
Yes, that is Max Headroom.
Oh my God, he's like a living legend.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Matt Frewer is like very well known. He has like a bit part in that, I thought, but
forgive my ignorance. I called him bald old man in my notes. There were too many people with too many names. Okay?
I'm so sorry, Mr. Frewer.
I'm sorry. I meant no disrespect, sir.
Okay. All right.
So yes, we've lost a lot of people, but then there's this awesome montage of everybody like acclimating to life in the mall. Like they're preparing dinners at the mall restaurant, and the pregnant lady made like a little cozy little space to have her baby, and everybody sits down to family dinners. And there's that really awesome cover of Down with the Sickness. It's like the jazz version.
Oh, it's that guy does a lot of stuff like that. He remakes a lot of those songs.
I've heard his
Yeah.
stuff before, and it
Mhm.
was fantastic. And I want to like put it on next time I have
I have some trivia about that when we get there.
my friends over for dinner. Very classy. Okay, so as I mentioned, there's the pregnant lady Luda, and she's there with her boyfriend Andre, and he gets real weird about her. Like, we stop seeing Luda at one point, and Anna, being the nurse that she is, asks, "How is she doing? Can I check on her?" And Andre gets real weird about it. Turns out she's not doing good. She got bit or scratched at some point that I can't remember, but she's slowly morphing into a zombie, slower than anybody else in this movie, I'll note, because everybody else had a rapid.
Yeah, hers was just a scratch, and I didn't know if it was because it was a scratch versus a bite.
Could be.
I didn't know. She had a very small wound.
Yeah. So he has her tucked away. And then as she's giving birth, they don't like call reinforcements in, but she like dies mid-birth,
She didn't look well.
comes back as a zombie, and then like has the baby, which is also a zombie. Which
That
is
part
like
was a little cheesy. I'll get
when they did the close-up of the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who's the lady that went in to like check on her and then they killed her?
Norma.
Norma. Yes. There she is right here. Norma finds them, finds Andre holding the baby girl, and who was his pet at that point, Luda, pet zombie Luda.
Ugh.
That doesn't end well for anybody. There also, I forgot to mention this during that, there's another montage where they're like reinforcing the buses because that's their new escape plan.
Yes,
and why were there buses at the mall?
It explained it, but now I can't remember.
Because I must have missed that point.
Did it have something to do with Andy, the guy that was next? That was like on that building next that Kenneth kept speaking to via the erase board, the dry erase board.
Oh, it might have. It might have, because they do send the girl with the dog. What was the dog's name? Chips.
That was me. That would have been me.
I knew that you were going to relate to this character the most, and then I was concerned about the dog, but I'm like, she wouldn't watch this movie if this dog died. So back up a bit. They reinforce the buses, but then they're also going to save this neighbor friend that they've made. What building is he in? He's in a building across the way, but
he was in like a pawn. He was in like a pawn shop, I believe. So he had access to a lot of weapons, like guns and stuff.
So he's like doing pretty well for himself. Him and Kenneth become friends. They're communicating back and forth. And once this plan to escape in these buses goes down, they're trying to figure out how they can get him out. And they send the dog over with what?
I think they were sending the dog to get bullets so that they could, because they didn't have a bunch of bullets for their current weapons. So then they sent the dog over with that pack.
Okay, the dog did have a pack. I just missed what that was. Thank you for clarifying. And he's got this little trapdoor that he lets the dog into. Naturally, some zombies get in. You think he's going to be fine. He's not fine. The dog's fine, though. Dog gets out. And the girl does. Nicole does, too, right?
Well, Nicole is an idiot. And she goes over to save the dog.
Okay, but let's be honest.
It would have been me. I would have never let the dog go to begin with. I would have been like, oh, this dog is needed to save the world. Not on my watch. Find a different plan. Not happening. Not with Chips. He's mine.
RIP. No, I'm just kidding. That happens. Reinforced bus plan is executed. This was a pretty cool scene because they are busting through like gates and stuff, but then like they hit so many zombies at one point, they just like kind of stop. And this is when CJ becomes the hero, and he takes that gas tank and he like throws it out of the bus, out of the top, and then he shoots it, and there's this like massive explosion, which is really cool, really smart. They get out. Oh, they get out of the horde of zombies, but then Ty Burrell's using a chainsaw at one point, and then somebody else picks it up, and there's that really horrific
Oh,
death. Like, it
the
was a
old
total
man.
accident. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's just like, well, it reminded me of like one of those infomercials
Yes.
where they're like, oh no, and like it's like he like barely trips over like a pebble, and then he just like takes off this girl's arm because
Yeah,
he just
like shoulder to like
he's
hip.
like just like swinging that, and it lands on him. Like, okay, it was like, how did you make it this far?
That made me sad. And then Steve gets turned into a zombie. Steve is Ty Burrell's character. He becomes a zombie. Anna takes great pleasure in shooting him in the
It
head.
was so well because she told him.
Yeah, like
I
they
mean,
had
he told her. He said, "If sweetheart, if I turn into one of those things, you have permission to shoot me directly between the eyes."
yeah, and he was just like generally the douche of the group.
Yeah,
A different kind of douche than CJ, but douchey
but it was
nonetheless.
his boat. It was his boat they were getting to.
It was his boat that they were on these reinforced buses driving to.
Mm-hmm.
So they reach the dock, and this is when, once again, CJ gets to be the hero. He sacrifices himself for the good of the group. And they all get on this boat, and they're getting ready to leave. And the guy, what's his name? Michael, who was he literally plays the same character in that new movie with Angelina Jolie, Those Who Wish Me Dead.
It's Jake
He's
Weber.
He's like a I don't know, like a sacrificial father figure. Anyway, he got bit in that whole escape plan and says he's going to stay and watch the sunrise. And by that, he means he's going to shoot himself in the head.
I cried.
I was
sitting on my couch like crying, and Walter like looks at me, my dog. He like gets up and he like comes over and sits next to me like, Mom, what is wrong? I was like, it's just a really sad movie, Walt. Like thank God I was by myself. But yes, I was sitting on the couch like crying.
No, he was like the good guy of the group, and him and Anna kind of have a little bit of a romance. So he kisses her hand, and it was, I mean, if he just turned into a zombie, it might have been better, but it was rough. You don't see him shoot himself, but you hear it. And that's enough.
you hear, yeah, because you see the whole like
the horde coming
on the dock, and it was like, well, he wasn't even going to get to see that sunset.
But everybody that's left is on this boat, and if you watch the it ends with them sailing off, but if you watch the credits, you see that they like reach this island. They run into another boat. They find food with maggots on it. They reach this island.
There was the head in the cooler.
Yeah.
The zombie head that was still like talking.
Yeah, like the movie's over, but it's not, because
no.
the credits tell a little bit more of the story. And ultimately they reach this island full of zombies, and that's pretty much it.
Which I did not understand why they didn't. Maybe they just didn't have enough bullets. I don't know. I think I would have. I don't think these zombies can swim. I think I would have stayed offshore a little bit and just tried to take them out one by one.
Off the island so that they could, yeah.
And then get to the island.
Yeah, like how many could have realistically been on? Like how big was the island?
Yeah.
Questions.
Exactly.
Like, could that be their new home? I don't know.
Well, that's what I was assuming there was going to be. But then I also thought, well, how did the zombies get on the island? Maybe they can't swim.
Yeah. Or if they were there when...
There couldn't have been that many. It was like, it was not a very big island. It was small.
Maybe there was another boat that landed there, like a cruise ship or something that crash landed.
Maybe a cruise ship. Yeah. Maybe something like that. You don't ever see it.
Things we'll never know.
And it does not have doesn't have a happy ending. But no. Zombie movies never do. I feel like there is never.
Let's be honest. If this happened, there's not going to be a happy ending. Sorry.
No. I mean, eventually you could take all the zombies out.
I mean, you'd have a Walking Dead situation. Still not happy though. What kind of quality of life is that? It's very stressful.
Oh yeah, I'm here to say that I would easily be one of the first people to die in a zombie apocalypse.
Willingly, or
I probably would just be like, yeah, I don't want to deal with this. This nothing good ever comes from this, and just
oh god,
pretty quick. It's terrible to say. This is saying, okay, in this situation, I'm like single and kidless. So
all right, fair enough.
If I just had to worry about me, I'd be like, yeah, I don't want to do this. Kai Pfeiffer, who plays Andre,
Mhm.
Why can't that guy get a role where he doesn't flip out? Flips out in every movie he's in. That
I
we
feel
just think,
like he just excels.
it's just so
His
like,
delivery is amazing.
yeah, he is a good looking man.
Facts.
That Mackay. Okay, are we ready for some lights, camera, trivia?
Do
Dun,
it.
dun, 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 dun. As,
Price is Right.
no? What song was that? Dun, 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 dun,
Do the
dun,
hustle.
dun. Yeah. So what if we just made our own? See, this could be our music for our segments, Lauren. That's what I'm talking about. You make those music with your mouth as we introduce the segments.
We'll just do the hustle then.
With that dance to it.
Do the hustle.
Okay. For trivia, there was a lot actually.
I'm pumped.
You do not see the title of the movie until 11 and a half minutes in. You don't have, there's no title, there's no credits, there's nothing.
The song they use in the credits though is, love it.
Okay. So Johnny Cash, When the Man Comes Around, that song, and the Down with the Sickness cover by Richard Cheese.
Yes,
the guy
that's
who
his
sings
name.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Those Zack Snyder had to fight for those two songs.
Really?
They did not, like, the production company or whoever said that they absolutely did not want those songs, that it threw the vibe off, that it threw the tone of the movie off. They did not want those songs in there. And I was like literally the first song is about like the world rapture type stuff.
Down with the Sickness cover, I can understand where they're coming from a little bit.
But the Johnny Cash one?
No, that's it. Literally,
it's about the rapture and like end times and stuff.
Yeah, and the Down with the Sickness one is just like, it's quirky enough to work.
Yeah, yeah, I liked it, and it was very memorable to me.
Yeah.
I also did not realize until I watched this, that James Gunn wrote the screenplay.
I saw his name and
I love him.
I forgot about that.
And it makes sense now because like I love Guardians of the Galaxy and I love, I'm real pumped for Suicide Squad too. Even though I end up hating every DC movie, I still get excited when I see the trailers. So they came together for this, and people were very, very against James Gunn writing the screenplay. He got like death threats because apparently he also wrote the Scooby-Doo movies, and they were like, the guy that wrote Scooby-Doo can't write zombie movies.
I mean,
I was like, well, he did a pretty good job. So what I was talking about that we always talk about how we like when there are connections to real life type situations or societal fears or anxieties or whatever. And horror is a very good barometer of that type of stuff. It's very representative of what is going on in society when they come out. So after 9/11, there was a huge influx of zombie movies. And a lot of it had to do with the whole us versus them mentality that America had after 9/11. So a lot of people have this thing where and it's not just with this movie with Zack Snyder. There were other movies they mentioned too, saying that he pushes like a strong right-wing like propaganda or like message in his movies. So like with Dawn of the Dead, the whole like, I know someone made a comment and that they didn't like how they never focused on the zombies. So it took away any sort of humanity that the zombies had left. Like you never looked them in the eye or anything. So they felt like they were one-dimensional villains, which is how they feel like this person that did this, the analysis that I read, which I will say, the guy that wrote it, I cannot remember his name, which is terrible of me, but he wasn't very good at hiding his distaste for Zack Snyder.
Okay.
So it was kind of like, am I going to take this with a grain of salt, what he thinks? Because he was saying like, oh, he is against Muslims, and that's who the zombies represent. And then like the whole, like, it was supposed to be like a hot take on like consumerism. The original one is, I guess.
Yes.
I've never seen it. So the original one, but I guess they took a lot of that out, or whatever that was in the
Romero version.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one, and Eli Roth talked about this on his History of Horror show, but yeah, that one was like a direct commentary on like people literally being like zombies and going to the mall to buy the latest
Mm-hmm.
thing and do this and do that. But the review that you read that you're talking about, was that written when this movie came out? So like 9/11 was fresh in this guy's mind, or is
Yes.
this okay? So
No, no, no. It was no, no, I take it back. It was a fairly recent
okay, that's
because
interesting then.
it wasn't just Dawn of the Dead. The guy had mentioned like a lot of like the homoerotic like undertones and in 300 and there was a lot of stuff that they were against with
So
that.
they
Like
just hate Zack Snyder
pretty much.
altogether.
Pretty much. But I
Okay.
did find the whole Dawn of the Dead thing. I had never put two and two together, but there was a huge rush in zombie movies post
Hmm.
9/11.
That's
And
interesting.
so it's like what we were talking about with like the housing crash or like when the bubble burst
Yeah.
and there were all those like haunted house movies
Yes.
that came out because that was like people's fear was losing their or having something happen you couldn't get out, like you couldn't leave your house because you didn't have the money.
Right. I feel like though, to the point of like the zombies not having any humanity, like you don't look any of them in the eye or whatever. I feel like that a lot of zombie movies and shows didn't do that until like Walking Dead kind of humanized zombies in a big way, but I can't really think. And then like there was that zombie movie with Nicholas Holt where
Oh,
it's
I
like a love
love
story.
Warm Bodies. It's a
Yes.
book.
So that is another one that definitely humanizes zombies, but I can't like zombie movies of this time, I feel like all of them,
Yeah,
the zombies are the problem and like, you know what I mean? They're
mhm.
not
Well, and then they were taking that into account and saying like, well, obviously it's representing like
what they represent.
foreigners to Americans, and that's we like Americans hate Muslims and all that stuff after 9/11. Like that's what
Well,
they were
yeah, I
basing
can
it all
see
on.
how you could read into that for that situation. But anyway,
Yeah. So,
that's
but
interesting.
I also feel like almost, yeah, the zombies, like, you could say that like zombies are the villains or the bad or like, the bad guys or whatever, how you want to
Mhm.
say it. But in every zombie movie, almost every single one, the whole thing comes out at the end. It's like the problem is humans are always the bigger, it always ends up that humans are the bigger threat.
Of course,
Even
yeah.
like Walking Dead, that's what that whole show's about. It's
Yeah.
basically
There's
like
good and there's evil.
it's like it's either going to bring out the best in you or it's going to bring out the worst.
And we saw it
So,
in this movie too with
mhm.
like CJ and even Steve a little bit. Like they were villains in this movie for however
So
brief.
you watched the director's cut, right?
Yeah, so Snyder did a little intro in the beginning, and from what I gathered, it was really there was nothing added except for more gore and maybe a little bit more cursing, unless I
See,
said something that you didn't see.
no, I read that there is a whole other story with like that got cut about CJ or Barry, his like sidekick,
Yeah.
who was secretly gay and he was like mad about it. So the whole like arc of him become like CJ's like arc where he, ends up saving everybody. He's like the bad guy at first, but then he like comes around and saves everybody. Had to do with him like coming to terms with his sexuality.
There was a scene where they had him and another one of the security guards locked up.
Hmm.
Did did you see that scene? And he was reading the magazine and talking about like how to know if somebody's interested in or the 5 keys to a relationship or whatever.
I
It
don't think
was
I saw. I know they were locked up, but I don't think I saw that
all right,
part.
so maybe that was an additional thing. He's reading through like a Cosmo or something, and it was like the 10 keys to a
Is he laying
relationship.
on his stomach when he does it?
No, he's kind of
Okay,
kicked
then
back
no.
in a chair, and he's like going through the guy's sleeping behind him, and he's like, number one is trust. So maybe that was like their little way of him expressing his sexuality and then
Yeah.
becoming kind of coming to terms with it.
Well, I think someone was saying that they like that he talks about it at some point. I believe I might be mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's what they
He
said.
might have mentioned it, and
And
I
then
just
there's the whole scene with the one older gentleman trying on women's shoes.
yes, and he talks about when he knew he was gay. Maybe that was what you were.
That's not. Yeah, that is not in the regular because
Uh,
I've that the only thing I've never seen the director's cut. So the only thing I have ever seen was just that one clip of him trying on the women's shoes. And
okay,
I
in
thought
that
it was
same thing.
just added as like a little, I was like, well, that's weird.
No, yeah, he says like the first time he knew he was gay was on the playground, and that was just
Okay.
him opening up. I think, and it was to CJ too. So
Maybe that's what it all means then. Maybe. There were a few nods to different movies and like with the shots, the way they frame the shots, like to The Shining. So there are a couple like obvious, like the one big one is when in the very beginning when Anna's husband has turned into a zombie
Yeah.
and he comes through the door and he's like the exact same thing as
Here's Johnny.
yeah. And then also when Anna steps out of the tub, the way they frame the shot with her foot on the rug is identical to the way the lady steps out of the tub in The Shining before she turns, like before you realize that she's like an old lady and it's all gross.
Oh, I thought that was an interesting. I'm like, wow, this is a really tight shot on her toes. Like,
Yeah, it was why that was why. So there was, yeah, they were talking about that. That scene, I mean, I remember obviously the whole like cold open with the little girl with Vivian attacking, Lewis or whatever. But when she is trying to get away from Lewis and she backs up and she's like trying to get away as hard, like as fast as she can, and she falls into the bathtub,
mhm.
it looks so, so painful. Like I really wonder, I can like feel the bruises forming on like my tailbone and hips because
Yeah,
it
because the
hurts.
tub is such an interesting like shape to fall into, not to mention hard.
And it's hard and she does it so quick. It's
Mhm.
almost like they're I was like, was it a stunt person that did that? Or because if it was her, she was hurt. I guarantee she was hurt the next day. I
Yeah.
guarantee she had bruises. There's only one other scene in a movie where I have been like that, they're hurt. Like they got hurt doing that. And it's in Back to the Future when when Marty gets hit by the car, when he
Oh,
goes
yeah.
and he hits his head bounces on the pavement.
Oh,
It bothers me because I'm like, oh, that hurt. Like,
it bothers me.
yes, ugh, I don't like it. So yeah, there was the Shining thing, and then in the end credits, which we love an end credit like joke or whatever, they put, how they always put at the end of a movie where it's like any resemblance to any person living or dead is purely coincidental. So
Yeah.
in this, they put any resemblance to any person living, dead, or undead is purely coincidental.
Aw.
I thought that was funny. Heather Langenkamp, who was Nancy
Mhm.
in A Nightmare on Elm Street, she worked on the set. She was part of the production crew.
Oh, that's cool.
I think it was just like one of those quick like trivia bits that I read. I think she does something with special effects now and makeup.
Oh, nice. Good for
So,
her.
and one last thing, lots of the crew wore rain gear or stood behind plastic sheeting because of how much fake blood was used every day. Like they were just like drenched in it. So they would like
It was a
hide.
lot.
Like you just had like rain, like umbrellas or, hiding from it or whatever.
Prevent your clothes from getting stained and ruined forever.
Oh my gosh. I
Ugh.
think I would have just like two outfits that I would alternate every day
Yeah,
to come to work.
you would have
You know
to.
it's sticky.
Uh-huh.
I did read that they were one of the things that Snyder did to kind of portray how old the zombies or how long a person had been a zombie was the color of the blood. So if they were a new, like a fresh zombie, their blood was like bright red. If it was
Oh.
an like they'd been like a little while, they weren't so fresh anymore. They were starting to get a little, ripe. It was like brown, like a brownish tinge. And then when the old ones, it was like black, oily
I
blood.
feel like that big lady in the mall though, like she was pretty in the brown blood.
Yeah, I that is one, like we'll talk about it more and why would they do that, but there was no good reason for them to let her in.
Maybe she had one of those scratch situations and she was slowly decaying and that's why it was brown.
I thought that when they first came in, I mistook her for the older guy's wife.
Me too.
As he was like, because they were asking him what her name was.
Mhm.
And he was like, just give me a minute. And he seemed, obviously you're stressed out when you're seeing a zombie attack, but he seemed like it was personal. Like he was upset
Yeah.
so yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. So that is all of my trivia that I have for,
All right. Should we
there
get
was
into
a ton, so I had to trim it down.
Yeah, you picked the good nuggets. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, you want to get into why would they do that?
Yeah.
Our bread and butter? Why
Yeah.
would they do that?
It's our money maker. Just kidding. We don't make any money on this show.
Every week my dad's like, "You making money on that thing yet?"
No, Gary.
One day.
Yeah, so I have several. Why would they do that? And
Same, off the bat. Anna leaves her house. I know she's in a panic. I know her husband's coming at her. She had just fallen into the bathtub, but she's got no shoes. She's got
I
no shoes.
but I will say I was impressed with her like intuitiveness to when he jumps up to get her, she immediately grabs her car keys before going into the bathroom. And I thought that was smart.
So good
I
on
wouldn't
you.
have thought to do that.
No.
I would just have been eaten in the bathtub. That would have been it for me. I'm telling you, I wouldn't survive long. My whole thing, just in general, I no longer find, after living through an actual pandemic, I no longer find zombie movies like that entertaining, because I'm like, you tell like you're telling people to stay inside. Yeah, right. They'll be like, I'm gonna go outside and lick a zombie. Like, I'm not. The government says that we shouldn't do this. I'm gonna go do this.
I'm fine with that though, because then we can thin the herd. Like we don't need that
Right,
level of
Darwinism.
stupidity around us.
But in a zombie movie, you're just creating more of the problem.
It's true. It's true, but we know how to kill zombies.
Yeah, that's true.
We know how to kill zombies. Sometimes people, I don't know, like they forget or like they
And
know, but the perfect example with that, the big lady. First of all, they let her in. She did not look well. I would have been like, she has to stay
no,
outside. Like, I'm sorry, but she has to stay outside. And then she croaks and they don't do anything about it. They don't stab her in the head. I don't care if you were scratched or not, or bit or not. You're getting a thing in the head because we're in a panini. Okay.
The old panini. I'm telling you, in the most believable part, and I saw this as a tweet, so I can't take credit for having this thought on my own. And I don't remember who said it, but the most believable part of a zombie movie now is when people hide their bites. You've got, I don't have COVID. It's fine. I can get on this plane. It's totally fine.
Yeah,
Nobody will catch it.
I have a vacation. I don't have COVID.
Right. Fine. I'm different. I'm not the same. I've been bitten, but I'm different. It's not going to affect me. It's like the episode of Community, my favorite episode of Community, where the zombie, like the Halloween party, and they all turn into zombies.
Yes.
And the one guy that Annie likes, like the doctor guy, and Britta are both like, they hide their bites because they're like, she's like, no, I wanted to be different.
It's true though, but I don't care if you can do that all you want. When you die, you're getting a head wound just for precaution.
One time Mike told me, this is pretty early on in our marriage. He said, listen, out of no
good.
We were not even talking about anything. This is how romantic my husband is. He looks at me and he said, I just want you to know, if you ever turn into a zombie, I'm not going to be one of those like, oh, maybe we can save her type husbands. He's like, I'm just going to shoot you in the head.
Okay, I respect that.
I was like, all right. Why did you think of that right now? We were like getting ready to go to work.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
That's great.
What?
Michael.
Yeah. Everyone in a zombie movie, it's just a scratch. I'm going to be fine. Fine. No, you're not. You're not going to be fine. You're going to turn into a zombie. Thank God for Michael in the movie, who was like, sorry, cannot go with you. Even Anna then was like, are you sure you could probably still go? We can probably save you. Really, Anna?
She wanted to do that with everyone. Like, she just wanted to help everybody, and I get it.
Was the problem.
Sis had seen enough. Like, it's not going to end well, and you're all on this boat. What are you going to do? Just throw them overboard? Maybe that'll work.
Every single person. Andre, oh, my wife it's just a scratch, but I'm sure her and the baby will be fine.
Why was having a zombie baby a good idea? Like,
well, and I will say that his like whole story was kind of odd, because he made that comment to Kenneth, who was like, he said to him, he said, I feel like I'm on this earth to bring this baby into the world. And it was like, but maybe it just like, maybe if you had that message from God, he just meant a human baby. He probably didn't mean a
not in these circumstances.
Yeah. God was like, whoa, did not see this coming. Abort, Andre, abort mission. I'm like, no. And then, so I also had the fact that Kenneth was very hard-headed. So the whole, why would he think that they were lying to him about Fort Pastor? I just need to see for myself.
I just think that was a character trait of his. Like, there's always one, you know?
I know. Yeah, but it was like my big, like, why would you want to do that though?
He had to fill that arc. There's like, the standard archetypes of like zombie survival groups.
He actually searched uh Zack Snyder down to ask specifically to be in this movie. Ving Rhames
Really?
did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and now he's the Arby's guy. We have the meat, right?
Him.
That's him, right?
I
Has
don't know.
to be.
Is it?
It has to be. That is his voice.
Please confirm.
I will die if it's not, because that is 100% his voice.
I mean, I believe you. It sounds like, I mean, I could hear it.
We have the meats. Who is the We have the meats guy?
We're learning here on Lights Camera.
It is.
Yes. Good for him.
Yes. Hold on. Is it changed now?
No, I don't care if he was.
No, it's
the
still him.
voice once.
For a while, it was the guy that did Archer.
Oh, yes. No, it's better this way.
H. John Benjamin. He was doing some stuff for a while for Arby's, but we have the meats. It's Ving.
I love it.
Yeah. So he actually wanted to be in this movie because in the original Dawn of the Dead, the black guy who was the actor who played him was the actor in this movie who did he's like the pastor on TV who's like in the Dead. He was the original.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my God, I love Easter
eggs. Did you catch Tom Savini in this movie?
Maybe. Was he on the news too? Was he the cop, the sheriff or whatever? Yes. Yeah. I was like, I know that.
He's like, we got a Twitcher.
Yeah. That's it.
Which I just now learned today. Like I put, or not today, yesterday when I watched it, I put two and two together that Tom Savini is also in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh yeah.
I never put that together.
I didn't either. Thank you for connecting those dots.
There was a lot of Tom Savini like thoughts going through my head. It was
we learning.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are my big why would they do that is like any zombie movie. It's always like, why would you hide your bite? Why would you not listen and go outside? Like, why would you insist on thinking that you could change what you'd seen a million times already?
Yeah, this is what's happening. This is how we deal with it. Like, don't be stupid. There are like simple rules. Everybody can continue to try to survive if we follow the rules.
Yeah,
thank you.
That is 100% not going to happen if a zombie apocalypse.
It would be interesting, let me tell you.
Yeah. I am a very big rule follower, so it doesn't bother me to follow the rules.
Yeah, same. And like, I'm all about like tactical decision making.
Yes. Oh, you're giving me guidance because you know more. You know more than me. Excellent. I will take it. Yes.
Yeah, I'm the friend that like won't go somewhere if I don't know the parking situation. If I don't know the parking situation, I'm not coming.
Same. It's exactly why I hate driving downtown. I don't like the stress of having to find a parking spot.
It's just not happening.
No, I don't like it. It's too much anxiety. I'll turn around and come home if I can't find a parking space. Amen. I'll be like, I was there. One time when I was like 19, I didn't go to a job interview because I could not figure out where to park.
Oh my God.
I was like, well, turning it around. This is too embarrassing.
It's not meant for me.
I'll never tell anyone this happened. She says, and then tells everyone on her podcast 20 years later.
Oh, that's rich.
Yeah. So those are my why would they do that?
Amazing. Those were also I just had the 3, but it's time for the ratings are in. Because the ratings are in.
They're in. They're in.
The ballots are in, people.
What could be a song we could do with our mouths for that segment?
It has to be different every time.
What is that song that we wanted to do, but we forgot to do your TikTok when you came to town? And it was like,
oh, it's like or something. I don't know. I feel like we need like Oscar music or something.
Oh yeah, or like or the
air horn.
The air horn.
Yeah,
the ratings are in.
I love an air horn. We used to when I worked at SEOM. We used to my one coworker, every time like somebody would walk into their office, they would have the air horn queued up and just like play it.
How embarrassing for
It
that
was
person.
amazing. Oh my god, straight savagery. Okay.
Oh,
All right, the
okay.
ratings are in. Our fearless leader,
Oh,
you're going first.
oh, I am. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a lights, camera, yes for me. I am typically not a fan of zombie movies. I feel like they're tired and it's the same old, same old. This one spiced things up for me with the fast zombies. I want to say this is maybe the first fast zombie movie that I watched. Uh, I I love love is a weird word to say, but the cold open gives me such like strong feelings. And I remember seeing it the first time being like, oh my gosh, like I'm like, my whole body was sore from being tense the whole time. It's like you're sitting there like you're clenching your butt cheeks because you're just like,
And you
oh
don't
my God.
realize it until it's over and you're like, oh my god, I was like tensed up back there.
Yes. Yes. So I love this movie and it actually, like I said, it does make me a little bit emotional. I did cry when Michael had to, say his farewell to Anna and the gang as they sailed off into the sunrise. And I'm just a sucker for James Gunn in general. So love me some Mr. Gunn. And I don't know if he is connected with Army of the Dead coming out, but
Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
I don't know. The trailer was what reminded me very much of the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer.
I agree 100%.
The whole, like how they did the gunshots to the Gambler song, like the remake.
Yes.
And they did that with Hooked on a Feeling in Guardians, in the
I
Guardians
won't
trailer.
be surprised if he's involved
I
in
won't either.
anyway.
So, yeah. So yes, lights, camera, yes for me. Even if you don't like zombie movies, I would suggest you check this one out because it's a good one. It's good.
I am also a lights camera, yes. I'm of the same mind. It takes a lot for like a zombie movie to be good in my opinion, but this is one of the good ones. It's one that I'll watch. I've seen it many times. Shockingly, I know. Half the time I come on this podcast and I'm like, "Oh, I've never seen this movie." But not this one. Very familiar. I like its fast pace. It's as gory as I'm willing to deal with in a movie.
Which is a lot.
Yeah, but I think it helps because it's not actual. This isn't going to make any sense, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's not actual human gore. It's like it's zombie gore. So it hits different. The acting is decent. There's certain characters outshine other characters. And that's obvious as you're watching it. And the music choices in this movie are absolutely superb. Love it. I love a good soundtrack. I think it's the perfect accompaniment to any good movie. So it's a lights, camera, yes from your girl, Lauren.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good flick. Check it out.
Do it. And do it soon because the new one comes out.
They're not connected though.
But kind of.
Well,
Not really, but
I'm just saying if you like Dawn of the Dead, I will be surprised if you don't like Army of the Dead. I'll be surprised if I don't like Army of the Dead.
Same.
So
they look like some fast zombies. And what was it not War of the Worlds?
28 Days.
World War Z. They were really fast in that one, right?
Yes.
They were like super fast, like faster than these ones.
Yes, they were like, it was like all of a sudden they got super speed because they were dead.
Anyway.
I don't like that movie.
I saw it once. I don't think I need to see it again.
Yeah. Once was enough for me.
But it's time now for This Week in Horror.
This Week in Horror.
Yeah, that feels good.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. Maybe we should
I'm telling you, every week we just need to announce I'm like this.
Well, we can also
record it.
Yeah, both of us just singing. I wish I could harmonize
better. Well, who knows how long I'll have this like heavy smoker voice.
But I like it.
I don't. It is very irritating to me. And I feel bad for the listeners.
It sounds like that. What is it? Limu Emu commercial.
Oh yeah.
But like our words, our titles.
I love Limu Emu.
Yes.
This Week in Horror. Okay. Yeah.
I can't with us. I really can't.
I know. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first? I got some tidbits.
You can go first. Go ahead.
So Netflix Fear Street trailer dropped today, May 19th. If you are watching Twitch, you can go look once you're done watching us. If you're not, if you're listening on a Friday, then go back and watch it. It looks very good, and I am pumped because I love me some Fear Street growing up. Loved Fear Street. It was pre Goosebumps.
Yeah, I
And
was a
then
Goosebumps kid.
yeah, so I think that Mr. Stein was like, oh, these teens are liking this horror. I'm going to do like maybe the little kids will like it too. And that's when he did Goosebumps. I would go to, and I was still young enough for Goosebumps. I mean, I still got them. My mom didn't like to buy them for me because I would have the book read before I got home.
Oh my God.
Like, oh, I was a very like avid reader. But yes, it is a movie trilogy, which I didn't realize. I thought it was going to be a series. And
yeah, I like that it's going to be a trilogy.
It's going to be a movie trilogy. There are 3 movies. They are just titled years, 1994, 1978, and 1666. And it says one story over 300 years. So I believe it's about the Fear Street Witch, which if you read any Fear Street, you know, shady side, terrible place to live. Fear Street especially. I would never move to a street named Fear Street.
In a town called Shady Side?
Shady Side, yeah.
No thanks.
Shady Side, and it's the Fear Street Witch. So,
oh my God, I'm so excited for this.
Super excited. And the release dates are, it's like a birthday present to me, July 2nd, July 9th, and July 16th.
Amazing.
So, those 3 will be coming out this summer. The trailer looks good.
Good. It does look good. I watched it earlier.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
We lost some horror movie royalty this week. Charles Grodin, who was most notably in Rosemary's Baby, he died. He was 86 years old. So R.I.P.
I had no idea he was that old. And also, I did not know that he was in Rosemary's Baby until today.
Yeah, I mean, I felt bad, but I was like, oh man.
He's the dad in Beethoven to me.
Yeah.
That's all he is.
That's it.
He played, man, he did a very good job at playing like a very stressed out dad.
And we will always remember him for that.
He was in, and he had a stint in, I think he did. Didn't he have a stint in Mad Men?
Oh, I don't know. I've got maybe 2 seasons into that show.
Are you serious?
I wanted to finish it. I just never did. I don't know.
It is okay. So Mad Men is a very slow show to get into.
It's a slow burn, yeah. And I know how it ends. Because I remember that was such a controversial weird ending, but hard to avoid.
I don't know. There could never be a worse last season than Game of Thrones, so anything's forgivable to me.
Shots fired.
Never forgive those people for Game of Thrones. Ever. And it must be like coming up on the anniversary of like 2 years ago when it aired.
Oh, it is. It is
in my time hop. Mm-hmm. All my tweets, my time hop tweet today was something like, well, getting ready to be disappointed by the show I've loved obsessively for the last 8 years. Like I was real mad about it.
I just had one. It was like Cosmo or somebody tweeted about like the people that worked on the last season of Game of Thrones were going to work on something else that I loved. I forget what it was, but my like reply was like, please no. Like, don't let them ruin this too. Don't touch anything else.
Don't touch this.
Just leave.
I like remember all the retweets. People are so funny anyways when stuff goes wrong. Like if there is anything about the internet that I love, it is the ability to make fun of terrible situations and like have some laughs. And the tweets that came out of the Game of Thrones series finale it are still some of my favorites. Like they're just hilarious.
I contributed many of those.
Oh yeah. Well, the whole thing where there's one, I don't know, I'll have to send it to you. It's about like how why did Jon Snow say that he killed Dany? Why didn't he just say that the dragon stepped on her? It made me laugh really hard.
Not to mention the entire episode, you couldn't see it. It was a very important battle and you couldn't see anything.
We were like running. Sorry, we have spiraled, but let me tell you this. We were like running like from our upstairs TV in our bedroom to our downstairs TV and be like, can you see it better up there? We were like running back and forth. We thought there was something wrong with our TV.
It was
it's still just as bad. Like,
it It was just dust. There was just.
Oh God.
I had so many questions. Oh, anyway.
Oh, it was, yeah. Okay. There's a lot. We can talk about it later. So a movie that we covered a couple months ago was Crawl, and I just discovered today that there might be a sequel coming from Sam Raimi and Alexandre Aja, who did the original, and except it might be different animals this time. Aja. It's AJA. I'm assuming that's how you say it.
Do we have any
Aja?
clue as to what the animals are?
Whatever. No, but the person writing the article was saying that they were like, I would love it if they did like an anthology of animals.
That'd be cool.
Like an anthology movie with different animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love a creature feature and I love stuff like that. So
and you love an anthology,
so that would die, I'm in.
That would be perfect. Truly.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully they learned from Sugar that they don't kill the dog.
I mean, they should have. Speaking of anthologies,
Sam Raimi.
Eli Roth is doing an anthology series called Haunted for Discovery Plus. He's working with that paranormal investigator, Zach Baggins, who I think we talked about before. He's the guy with the
Zach Baggins
Museum of Oddities, right?
No, he bought something from the
thing
Warrens.
or
some like cube or.
But he has a collection of
the
Dybbuk.
items. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So the show's going to be based on his collection. I guess him and Eli Roth are going to comb over everything and go into the history of the items that he has in his collection.
I would not be within 10 miles of Zach Baggins just because of the stuff he owns. I don't know. He might be a perfectly nice man, but no. I would never go to his house.
He's definitely possessed.
Ever. Something.
It's gotta be.
If he's not possessed, he's about to be. Like, something's going to happen. So.
Truly.
Yeah. So, that was all I had for This Week in Horror.
Yeah, and we have to close with it, too.
I'm just going to keep singing it.
This Week in Horror. Yes, the only other thing I wanted to mention was that the Army of the Dead comes out this Friday, and we're going to cover it next week, right?
I'm so excited. Mm-hmm. We actually have a lot of our movies picked out. We're actually on a good schedule. We've got them scheduled for the next few weeks. Army of the Dead. If you've got Netflix, it will be on there. It's starring Dave Bautista, Tig. What's her last name? Tig. I love her. She's funny. I'm gonna have to look it up.
I don't know.
What is her name? Sorry, I shouldn't do this on air, but
it's fine.
Tig Notaro. Yeah, it looks like, and the trailer alone just looks like it makes. I've watched the trailer so many times. Any trailer that makes use of the song "The Gambler" is just perfect in my eyes.
Yes, that song is perfect. That song should be used everywhere all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, sure should. I love it.
But yeah, so we're doing that next week, and in June, the first week of June. What?
Do you know who else is an Army of the Dead?
Whomst?
Theo Rossi. Juice.
Oh.
Juice from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah. That's cool.
Theo Rossi. I love him.
I'm excited. I'm excited to watch this movie.
I'm just so excited for it.
So that comes out this Friday. We'll be covering next Friday.
Mm-hmm.
First week of June, we're going to do The Conjuring 2 in preparation for The Conjuring 3, which comes out June 4th. And we'll cover The Conjuring 3 the week after that.
Yes. And then the week after that, in honor of Father's Day, we're covering The Stepfather. So.
Which I have.
So, if you... Same. I also have a stepfather. But if you enjoy our podcast and you're like, I can't miss these, now you know if we're covering any movies that you want us to cover.
Yeah, we're trying to be better with this. So
speaking of, we're trying to not be as annoying. We're working on it. speaking of movies for us to cover, if you have any that you want us to cover, you can email us at lightscamera@gmail.com and we will do our best to accommodate your request. If you want to follow us on social, we would love it. You can find us at Lights Camera No on everything except for Facebook, which is LCN Podcast. I don't even know who's on Facebook anymore, but if you're there, we're there too. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would be so exciting to us if you would leave us a review. We love them. Love a good review. And if you do it on iTunes, even better, because iTunes kind of drives the, what's the word I'm looking for? It drives the viewership.
Like how we show up, like rankings. Yeah. It's like Google.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you do that, we can show up in front of more people and then maybe more people will like us. We don't know. We just want more friends, guys. Okay? That's it.
Yeah. Join us. Join Kevin Bacon and fill out a review.
Kevin Bacon reviewed us. Okay. So
anonymously, but
we don't know for sure. That cannot be verified, but there was a Kevin B in a lot of numbers and we just think it's Kevin. We just think it's him. Okay. It was right after we did Trimmers. How could it not be him?
Just let me have this, okay?
Okay, yeah. All right, guys. I want to thank everybody for watching/listening, and I hope you tune in next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Later, guys.